Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is MOED KATAN Daf Chav Ches. We are holding on the bottom of Chav Zayin Amud Beis. We learned in the Mishnah, V'lo shel nashim la'olam b'pnei hakavod. When we have a mita containing an isha nifteres, we never place that mita out in public in order to generate avelus. We don't do that. Why? B'pnei hakavod. In order to maintain the kavod of the isha. Amri nahardoi lo shanu. This concern only applies in the following case. Elo chaya. If it's an isha who passed away during childbirth, in which case there is a concern about the presence of dam, which is dishonorable for the isha. Aval she'ar noshim manichin. But otherwise, an ordinary isha can be placed out in public to be ma'ored avelus. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, no, afilu she'ar noshim. It's not meant to be done at all by an isha. Rather, you go straight to the kvura without delay. How do we know this? Tichsiv, we have a pasuk. V'tamas sham Miriam, but to cover Sham. Miriam Hanaviyah passes away and she's buried. V'tamas sham, but to cover Sham. We learn samach l'misa kvura. Kvura takes place immediately after misa without delay. V'amar Belazar, av Miriam b'neshika mesa. Just like the Aves Hakdoshim, Moshe Rabbeinu passed away through the process of neshika, a kiss from Hashem. The Mepharshim explained this involves an intense moment of dveikus where the neshama gets drawn back to Hashem like after a magnet. Miriam Hanaviyah also had that experience, even though we don't have a pasuk to that effect. How do we know this? Through Gzera Shava. Asya, Sham min Moshe. We use the words Sham. Atamas Sham Miriam. But Moshe Rabbeinu, it also says, Vayamas Sham Moshe Eved Hashem. Be'eretz Moav al pi Hashem, through the mouth of Hashem, misas neshika, a kiss from Hashem, drew him out. So this most lofty form of misa was experienced by Miriam as well. Asks the Gemara, if so, why don't we find why don't we find this description by Miriam Hanaviyah? Because to apply this phrase to an isha is inappropriate, but in reality she experienced the same experience. Amar Abami, Lama nismecha misas Miriam, the Parshas Paraduma. Why is it that in the Torah we find that the Parsha of misas Miriam, describing Miriam and Rabbiya's passing, is stated next to the Parsha of Paraduma? What's the connection? Loimulach, to tell you the following point. Ma Paraduma mechaperes. Just as the Paraduma is mechaper. How is it mechaper? Tosfos brings the famous medrash. It's a mashal of ben hashivcha shatinef patron shamelech. So the boy dirtied the palace, and the king says his mother, the maidservant, should come clean up. Paraduma is the mother of the egel, mother of the calf. She will come and do away, clean up the cheta egel. So just as Paraduma is mechaperes on the averis, af misasan shal tzadikim mechaperes likewise. The passing of a tzaddik is mechaper. Either, as Mepharshim say, the mere fact that Hashem takes away this tzaddik, which brings us pain and longing and feeling of absence and a void, that is mechaper on us. Or when a tzaddik leaves us, we long for his presence, we want to emulate him. We feel inspired by his passing. We miss him. We want to adopt his good ways. That is mo'erer people to teshuva. Af misasan shal tzadikim mechaperes, and that's why the Torah places misas Miriam near Parshas Paraduma. Amar Belazar. In similar vein, lo manismecha misas Aaron, the bigdei kehuna. Why is it that we find Aaron HaKohen's passing described next to a discussion regarding bigdei kehuna? It says that V'havshedes Aaronis begada, right? And he takes off his bigdei kehuna, and then it says he will pass away. What's the connection? Ma bigdei kehuna machaprin, just as the bigdei kehuna. Each beged has its own unique kapara that it does, as the Gemara in Zvachim that Peches discusses. Just as the bigdei kehuna have the power, the ability to be mechaper averes, af misasan shal tzadikim mechaperes. Likewise, the misa of tzadikim is mechaper. Once we're on the topic of misa, we have different types of misa. Some of them arouse concern. Tanu Rabban, meis pitam, if one passes away suddenly, That's not a good sign. Zuhi misa chatuva. It's a sudden death, a reason for concern, and reason for his iris tshuva to those who witnessed that event. Suppose he falls ill one day, and then he passes away. That's also a hasty death. Zuhi misa dechufa. Rabbi Chanani ben Gamliel Omer, Zuhi misas magefa. That's called misas magefa, which is reason for concern. Shenemar ben Adam. This was by Yecheskel Hanavi. Hashem tells him, Ben Adam, Hineni lekech mchas machmedenecha b'magefa. I'm going to take away your wife in the process of magefa. And what happened? So, from morning to night, she already passed away. It was just a one-day experience. And the Torah calls it magefa. Person is sick for 2 days and then passes away. It's not as bad as a sudden death, but it's also not praiseworthy. It's also a harried death. Gimel, gara. He's sick for 3 days and then passes away. It's a gara, a rebuke. Arba, 4 days and misa is nazifa, rejection. These aren't conventional misas. Chamisha. But if one is weak, is sick for 5 days and then passes away, it gives him enough time to take care of business, to do a tzava. Zuhi misas kol adam, that's a standard misa. Reb Chanan Mikra. How do we know this from our pasuk? Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Hein korvu yomecha lomus. Look, your time has come. And we learn, Hein is chad, 1 day. Korvu, trei, another 2. Yomecha, lashon ram, another trei. Hachamisha, a total of 5. So although Moshe Rabbeinu was healthy until the last moment, so it didn't really apply to him, but Hashem was alluding to the concept of an ordinary death, an acceptable death, 5 days and then Misa. Hein, chad. Hein means 1, as we just said. Shekein b'lashon Yavani. In Greek, koren la'achas hein. The word hein is referring to 1. Okay, so we spoke about the process of Misa itself. What about the age factor? Meis b'chamishim shana zui misas koris. If one passes away at 50, the Gemara soon will tell us between 50 and 60, that is misas koris. Chamishim b'shtayim shana zui misas shmol ramasi. If he died at 52, in that case, there's no reason for concern, because Shmuel Ramasi passed away at 52, and it certainly wasn't koris. Now, by the way, the Yavitz, Yaakov Emden says on this whole Gemara, of course, these are the general rules, but there are harbe yotzim min haklal, many exceptions when it comes to these concepts. So we're just following the general formula, but many exceptions are applied and do happen. So, from 50 to 60 represents koris, a reason for real concern. Shishim zumisa b'dei shamayim. If a person passes away at 60, that's normal. Nothing wrong with that. That's considered misa b'dei shamayim, ordinary death. Amar marzutra ma'ikro. How do we know this from a pasuk? At 60, it's okay. Dechsiv tavai bekelach alei kever. So you're going to come to me bekelach, to the kever. He's describing ordinary death. And that's 60. Why? Because the word bekelach is begematria shitan havu. The numerical value of bekelach is 60. If he lasts until 70, shivim, that's called seva. That's already old age. Shmoinim, gevuras, that's really good health. That's really extra credit. Tchsiv yimeish neisenu v'em shivim shana. Standard is 70. The migvuras shmoinim shana, 80 is really above and beyond. Amar Rabba. When the Brisa spoke about 50 representing koris, it meant mechamishim v'ad shishim shana, from 50 to 60. Zoi misas koris, that represents koris. So why didn't the Brisa spell it out? Brisa says 50. Why not from 50 to 60, the way it's supposed to be? Mishum kvoita shel Shmuel Ramasi, on account of the kavod of Shmuel Hanavi, who passed away at 52, and therefore the Brisa didn't want to spell it out openly. From 50 to 60 is koris. Rather, the Brisa just said 50, but really it means from 50 to 60, except for year 52, which is not considered. Rav Yosef, ki hava bar shitin, when Rav Yosef turned 60, avad lu yoyma tov l'Rabbanan, he made a big yamta, a big part, a big celebration for the Rabbanan. Amar, he said, nafkilu mikoris, look, I was spared of koris, I passed. Korah's territory. Omeli Abaye, 1 second, Nihi, Tenofak Lemar Mikoras Tishni. Sure, you were spared of the Korahs pertaining to years. You're past 60. Mikoras the Yomi Minafak Mar. What about the Korahs pertaining to days? Meaning the concept of a sudden death. You can't be insured of that. How do you know you're spared of that? Omla, he says you're right. But let me celebrate at least for this. Grab at least half of it in your hands, meaning at least Korah's Ishni, I know I'm free of. Rav Huna nach nafshei pisam. Rav Huna passed away suddenly. A sudden death. Rabban were very concerned. A sudden death isn't a good sign. Ta'analu zuga, until a pair of Chacham de Mahadayev from this town Mahadayev came along and they said, Lo yishanu. You should know this concern is only Elash lo yigia legvurois. If he died young, he hadn't yet reached the age of 80. Then, Meis Pisam is a concern. But if he reached the age of 80, at that point, a sudden death is praiseworthy. Zohi Misas Nashika, that's the Misas Nashika that we discussed earlier. The most subtle and elevated form of death. Amar Rava. Chai, the amount of years that a person lives. Bani, the sugya of children. If he will or will not have kids, how successful he'll be with his kids. Umezoini and parnasa. Loi b'schus atalimus. You meant to know these things are not dependent on one's schus, on one's madrega. El b'mazlo talimilsa. It all depends on the mazel. Whatever Hashem had stored for him. These factors, chayibon and mezoini, these are the props, the scenery around the play into which a person is born in order to fulfill that specific tafka, that mission given to him. You can't manipulate these factors. These are absolute factors orchestrated by Hashem. I'll prove it to you. The Harabba, Rav Chizda, we have two tzaddikim, Tarvayutz, Rabbanon, tzaddik Yehavu. You know, they were both great tzaddikim. Mar Matzli Vasamitra, one of them would daven, it would rain. Umar Matzli Vasamitra, other one would do the same. Rain would come as a result of his tefillah. And still we find a big discrepancy as far as age, as far as financial status, which are all rooted in mazel. Rav Chizda Chai Tishim v'Tatin Shnin. Rav Chizda lived to the ripe age of 92. Rabbi Chai Arbon, Rabbi only lived 40 years. He actually was from the Bnei Eli, who had a klola, an einish, to die young. So both tzaddikim. He lived to the ripe old age of 92, and he lived only 40 years. Rav Chizda Shitin Elul. In the household of Rav Chizda, they experienced 60 weddings, children, grandchildren. It was a happy family. On the other hand, Bei Rabba, Shitin Tichli, 60 funerals. Taisa says, some say it's Lav Dafka 60. But we see this great contrast between Rabba's successful life and Rabba suffered tragedy after tragedy. Bei Rav Chizda, in the house of Rav Chizda, there was abundance. Smida, fine flour was served. Look, kalvis to the dogs. You wouldn't even need. You wouldn't ask for more. I mean, there was an abundance, no shortage. Bei Rabba, in contrast to the house of Rabba, they would serve barley bread to people. And you couldn't find there was a shortage. So you see, it's not connected to schus, in which they were both equal, rather in mazel. Asks Tosfos. What about the Gemara in Shabbos Kuf Nun Vav? Ein mazel Yisrael. Yisrael is not affected by mazel. So he says, all the Gemara means is lefamim mishtana. Ayidei schos gadol through tefillah. Of course, Hashem established a set system, which is rooted in mazolis. That's the conventional arrangement on which the world is based. But Klal Yisrael have that ability to rise above the mazel, to transcend the mazel. We're spiritual beings. We could override the mazel. We can change our mazel through tefillah, through a great schus. But the default system is the mazel system. V'amarava. Hanit lasmili. The following three things, ba'oi kapishmai, I davened to Hashem to get these three things. So it's clear that tefillah can change mazel. Tarti yavli, In fact, 2 of my requests were granted. The third one was not granted. What are the 3 things? I asked for Rav Huna's wisdom, Rav Chiz's wealth. They gave it to me. On the other hand, the Rabba bar Rav Huna, when I asked for the Midas Toives, the humility of Rabba Rav Huna, that they didn't give me. Why? It's interesting that he would ask for that. The Mepharshim asked, don't we know that spiritual matters are in the hands of man? So when it comes to Chachma, when it comes to Esher, although that's also predetermined, even before a person is born, they declare, they decree, he will be a Chacham, he will be a Asher. Okay, but that can be changed, as we explained, through Tefillah, through Schus. But Anava, that's completely up to the person to develop himself, to advance in Ruchnis. How can he ask for that? How does Tefillah pertain to that? So the first will answer, of course, it's B'idei Adam. Koil B'idei Shemaim, Chutz Miro Shemaim, which represents all spiritual endeavors. It's in the hand of a man. That's Bechira. But Tefillah can help. A person can get up and daven to Hashem, ask for Siyata D'Shmaya, heavenly assistance to aid and assist him in his endeavor, in his efforts. So he davened, but he wasn't given. Rav Seurim, that was his name. He was the brother Achva de Rava Hava. Achva de Rava. Hava Yosef Kamei de Rava. So he was sitting in front of Rava when Rava was sick, about to pass away. Chazi, so his brother sees that Rava is being goisis, close to death. Dava Kamenamnem. Amalei, Rava turns to his brother of Seurim. I need you to help me out. I'm about to meet the Malach HaMavis. Leimalei Mar, could you please tell him to leil tsar, and he shouldn't pain me, he shouldn't give me a hard time? Make an easy transition. Amalei, so his brother tells Rava, you need my help? You can do it yourself. You're friends with him. Mar, lav shvinehu, aren't you his friend? Aren't you close to him? You have an influence by him. Amalei, so Rava responds, typically yes, but not right now. Even the imsar mazla, once my mazla is given over, the point of misa, my ability diminishes. He's not going to pay attention to me. I need you to help. Amalei says, okay, I'll help you out. And in fact, I want to report. Report back to me, please. Can you appear to me in a dream and tell me how it worked? So he passed away, and in fact, he kept his word. He appeared to Rav Seurim in a dream. Amalei, and he asked Rabba, Havali Lamar Tzara? Tell me about the transition. Was there any tzara involved? Amalei says, very minor. Ki rivda de kusilta, like the poke of the bloodletter. When he lets out blood, it's just a poke, nothing too serious. Thanks for your help. There was another similar story with Rava himself. Rava Yosef came to Rav Nachman. He was sitting in front of Rav Nachman. Chazed de Komenamn, he saw that he was already hovering between life and death. Amalei, so Rav Nachman turns to Rava. Leimelei Mar, please tell the Malach HaMavis lo yitzar, and he shouldn't be mitzar me when he takes me. Amalei, so Rava tells Rav Nachman, why do you need my help? Mar lav adam chashavu, aren't you a prominent person and have the ability to arrange things for yourself? No, Amalei, so Rav Nachman responds, not in this situation. Man chashav, who's considered important? Man safan, who has the ability to intimidate? Man rokia, who's considered perfect, meaning nobody has the ability at this point. At the point of Misa, he loses his tools. Okay, so he says, I'll help you out. Amalei, I'll help you, but l'schazli mark, when you appear to me and tell me how it went. So he passed away. Schazli, and came back to him in a dream. Amalei, Rabbi asks Rav Nachman, Havli lamar tzara? What about the transition? Was it painful? Amalei says, no, absolutely not. Smooth going. Kimishchal benisa, like you pull a hair michaba from a cup of milk. The tzaddik who lived a life of spirituality, he's not entrenched in gashmias. His neshama goes straight, like going from one room to the other. There's no tzara at all. It's just a smooth transition from ruchnis to ruchnis. However, Rav Nachman continues, but if Hashem would have told me, Zilbo Alma, go back to that world, to the Olam HaSheker, Olam HaZeh, Kadhavias, the way you were, reborn again, I wouldn't want. I wouldn't accept it. Why? The Nefesh B'Yasusi, even though the transition was smooth, but the Pachad, the fright, when you see that Yitzhahara, when you see that Malach HaMavis, it's overwhelming. I don't want to see that again. Rabbi Lezer was a Kohen. He was in the middle of eating Truma. Ischazile. Here comes the Malach HaMavis to take him away. Amalei, he turns to him, Truma Kachilna, don't you see I'm eating Truma? V'lav Kodesh Ikr, isn't it Kodesh? Get away from me, you're going to make me mace, I'm going to be tummy, matame. You're not allowed to do that. Chofali Shata, so the moment passed, and he lived another long tkufa. He missed the opportunity to take him away, so he lived long. Rav Sheshes is chazle b'shuka. Rav Sheshes is walking along the street, and the Yitzhar, the Malach HaMavis, comes and is about to take him away. Amalei, so Rav Sheshes turns to Malach HaMavis, over here, b'shuka k'behema, you're going to kill me in the street like a behema on us. Come home. Yisrael Gavibesa, come to my house. So they were able to manipulate the Malach HaMavis and wield their influence over him due to their koyach of Torah, their schusim. Rav Ashi had a story with the Malach HaMavis as well. It's chazle b'shuka. Malach HaMavis appears to him in the street. Amalei, Rav Ashi says, 1 second, I need 30 days. Give me a postponement. Israch, lit losen yemin. Wait 30 days. V'hadri tamadois, I can review my entire learning. Go through Shas again. Damriso, don't you say in Shamayim, Ashri Misha Balakan. Fortunate for this fellow Shabalakan that arrives in Shamayim at Tamud the other with his Torah in his hands, clear, absorbed. I want to review my learning. B'yom Tlasen, on day 30, here he is again. Also, he shows up. Amalei, so Rav Ashi asks him, my kuliyai, what's the rush? Wait till 30 days is over. Why are you coming so quick? So he says, I'll tell you why. There's somebody waiting in the wings to take over your position. We can't just delay. Kodachka ragle, the legs of the Barnos are here. Meaning, in other words, it's his term. He has to be the Rosh Hashiva. The Nasi, Rashi says. Ve'en malchus negas bechaberta. Afilu kuminoi nima. One malchus can't interfere with the others. Even a hair's breadth. So one position can't interfere with It's time to go. It's time for the next individual to take up the mantle of the Nasi. Rav Chizda lo have a yachle. The Malach HaMavis could not approach Rav Chizda. Why? Lo have a shasik pume megirsa. He was just learning and learning. Torah protects a person. So what did Malach HaMavis do? He had a job. He had an arrest warrant. What did he do? Solik, he climbed up Yosef Ba'arza, to climb up on the big cedar tree. The Beirav, which was near the yeshiva. Paka Arza, and the cedar tree burst, made a loud noise. Vishasak. Rabbi Chizda was idle just for a second, and this way he got him. Rabbi Chia, well, you have a muscle mikra relay. The Malach HaMavis could not approach him. He was learning all the time. So one day, the Malach HaMavis appears to him, dresses up to him like an ani, like a poor man. Also, Torah above, he comes knocking on the door. Amalei, so the ani calls out, Apikli Rifta. Could you bring me some bread? Afikul, so they brought him some bread. Amalei, then he turns to Reb Chia. I see that you're very compassionate on a poor man. Why aren't you compassionate on this fellow, meaning on myself? I'm the Malach HaMavis, I came to get you. Let me do my job. He revealed his identity to him. So he showed him a staff, a club, the Nura, a fiery club. This was his ID badge. So he saw this was the Malach HaMavis. Amtzile nafshe, so Reb Chia availed himself to the Malach HaMavis and allowed him to take him up to Shammai. Amazing that the tzaddik has the ability to arrange things, to delay and to procrastinate and to manipulate the Malach HaMavis. And Farshim say, we see that the koyach of Torah, the koyach of the tzaddikim, how powerful it is. Okay, continues the Mishnah. Back to Chol HaMoed. Noshim b'moed, ma'anois avalei metapchos. When there is a funeral on Chol HaMoed, we have to minimize the expressions of avelus. So the women will only be ma'anois. They'll chant their chants of mourning, avalei metapchos, without clapping their hands in frustration and pain. Rabbi Shmuel oimer smuchos lamita metapchos. One that next to the mita allowed to engage in clapping. That's on Moed. B'Rosh Chodesh, b'Chanukah, b'Purim, ma'anois u'metapchos. In that case, everybody can clap as well. B'zeh, whether it's Moed or the other Yom Tovim, loy mekainais, that they can't do. They can't respond to a chant called out by the Chazan or whatever, because that's a more enhanced form of chanting. That should not be done. nikbar. Either way, after kvura, it's over. Loy ma'anais, loy betapchis. They don't do inoy or tipuach because it's moed and Chanukah. We have to keep things low key. What are these terms? Ezehu inoy. What is that? Shekulon oinus ke'achas. All the women call out in unison. Kina means she'achas medaberes v'kulon oinus. One calls out and they all respond to her. V'kulon oinus achareh. That's a more enhanced form of chanting. Shenemar v'lameidna b'nei seichem nehi. So they teach them how to do nehi. That's to be ma'ana, to call out. V'isha ru'usa kina. And a woman will teach her friend how to do kina. Apparently it's a joint venture between two women. And the Mishnah wants to end with a davar toiv. Taisa says the end of Seder Moed, Aval Asad Lavoi, who Omer Bila Hamavis Lanetzach, Hashem will do away with death forever. Mocha Hashem Lakim Dima, Malkal Ponim, Hashem will wipe away all tears. So we speak about the Nashim calling out, chanting, words of mourning, May Amarn. What exactly do they say? Give me some examples. Amarav. Vai la'azla, woe to us, woe to this fellow who left us. Vai la'chavila, chavila, referring to a mashkan. That's an neshama. It's a collateral. Hashem takes it away after a while. Vai to this neshama that left us. Amarav. Nishei de Shachnatziv Amran Hachi. In the town of Shachnatziv, the women would say as follows. So different chants, which were applied to different occasions. And actually, the town of Shachnatziv featured frivolous people. A bunch of litzanim, but apparently the women were more serious there. So the women would chant as follows. Woe for this fellow who left us. They would say as follows. Goid garma mikacha. So Rashi learns that the garma, the cheekbones, were cut away from his teeth, meaning his face, everything collapsing, his body collapsed. V'namti maya, and his water returned lantiche back to the kettle, meaning his meraglayim came back up, his moisture returned back to Shemai. Basically, his guf collapsed. V'amarav nashid shachnatziv amran. Sometimes they would say like this: Atuf, wrap yourself. V'kasu, uncover yourself. Turi, the mountains, and a sign of Avelus, the bar rami, because of the son of this great man. Ubar Ravarvi, who is a son of great people, and he passed away. So the Barami, son of greats, Barami, son of leaders, of important people, look, now he's passed away. Bamarava, Nashid the Shachans of Amran, sometimes they would say, Shayil Itzla, the Milsa. You have to go borrow a silk a robe as a shroud of Tachrichem, the Bar Chirin, for this fellow who is free now, who passed away, the Shlimu Zavdi, his Mazainus is gone, he has no money left. We have to borrow for his Tachrichem. Bamarava, Nashid the Shachans of Amran, sometimes they would say like this. Rohit, Nafil, Amabra, his fellow goes and runs back and forth over the bridges, goes and does business. Busy, successful businessman. When it comes time to pay for his lavaya, he has nothing left. He spent all his money. V'yazuf to Yazif. Now we have to borrow for his burial expenses. That's what he has from all his efforts throughout his life. V'amarava neshida shichans of Amran. Sometimes they would say like this: Achona, our brothers. Listen to this. Tagri, the merchants. Azav Zagi Mivdeku. They're tested based on their merchandise. That's what we have left. We leave the world, they test us. Okay, what do you have to sell? That's what it's all about. V'amarav, Nashid the Shachans of Amran, sometimes they would say like this. Moisa ki moisa, death like death. Everybody goes through the same thing. Death is universal. But sometimes there are Yisurim involved. And for that we're crying, Yumaran Chibulaya. The Yumaran, the Yisurim, that's Chibulaya, that's the extra, like interest. That's the collateral, the mashkan that Hashem adds if a person needs to have a kapara. So for that we mourn, we feel bad for the yisurim that the mace had to go through. Tanya, we have a pasuk in Koheles which reads as follows: Toiv lelecha sal beisa aval, lelecha sal beis mishta. Ad until the end of the pasuk, v'achayit in a liboy, the one that's still living, who visits the Beis Aval, he should take it to heart. What exactly is he taking to heart when he visits the Beis Aval? Devarim shel Misa. He should be cognizant of all the details involving the Misa and apply it to himself, be ma'ir himself to tshuva. It's a check of reality. Look, the Yaspid, this fellow who's getting a hesped, yispedunei. Eventually, it's going to apply to him. He's going to go through the same thing. The yikbar, the one that's being buried, yikbarunei, he'll be buried as well. The yitan, this fellow is being carried to the levaya, yitanunei. The same thing will apply to him. The yidal, a fellow who people raise their voices in avelus, in hesped, yidulunei, they'll do the same to him. V'ikadamri, somehow another twist on this. The lo yidal yidulunei. You see, yidal yidulunei can mean that when you raise your voice in hesped, they'll do the same to you. When you seek a position of importance and prominence, yidulunei, they'll do the same to you. So based on that twist, they interpret it differently. No, that's not the way it's supposed to do it. Rather than a person seeking a position of importance, position of influence, which always carries the risk of being knocked down, thrown out of office, failing his endeavor. Don't do that. The person who hides, who keeps himself, who's not seeking kavod and prominence, does what he has to do, learns and davens, eventually he will be called to position. He will be nominated for a position of leadership. The best thing is they should call him and tell him, come, you've been hired for the job. We learned a few days ago that when a person is Eisik b'Torah b'fnim, the Torah itself will call out, will advertise for him. Hashem brings that about, that people recognize that. Well, the leaders of Klal Yisrael, they come to them, they seek their counsel and advice. And it was a story from Moshe Feinstein, I'm not sure if I mentioned a few days ago. In the city of New York, they were considering the death penalty, figuring out how to do it properly, and the lawmakers in charge wanted to get everybody's opinion. So they were seeking the Orthodox Jews' opinion. Who are going to go to get an opinion? So they heard about Rabbi Moses Feinstein. He is the supreme leader of the Orthodox Jews. Go to him for advice. So they sought his advice, and he presented it the way he's supposed to. Torah, our perspective on capital punishment. In fact, I think he wrote true about it. So the judge or the lawyer, the lawmaker in charge, at the end of the process, just curious, he turns to Rabbi Moshe. He says, "Pardon me if I ask him. Just curious how this works. How'd you get to this position of being the leader of the Orthodox Jews? How does it work? Are you elected? Are you run for office? Like, how does it just curious how it comes about?" So Rabbi Moshe says, "I'm not sure, but I'll tell you the truth. This is, I think, what happened. Many years ago, an individual approached me and asked me a halachic shaila, and I gave him an answer. He heard the answer, went away, and apparently he liked the answer, so he came back again for another question, and so on and so forth, and it's just the way it happened. But there was truth to it. That's the emes. No advertising, no promoting. Hashem ensures that we recognize our true leaders. Ki toiv amalecha, alei heina, come here. Well, they'll call you. The Gemara in Yuma says that when a person is destined for a position of leadership, he doesn't have to promote himself. It says they will call him. They'll call you by name. They'll call you on the come. They'll place you in your appointed place. Everybody has what's coming to them. Nobody can interfere. There's no personal factor when it comes to all these things. Hashem arranges it all. Tana Rabbana, we learned in the Bryce. Bishmal experienced multiple tragedies. One avelus of her son, another avelus of his son's passing. So the second time around, Nichnasu Dalit Skeinim L'Nachmei. 4 Chachamim came in to give him comfort. Rabbi Tarfon, Rabbi Yossi, Aglili, Rabbi Lezer, Nazari, Rabbi Kiva. Amalim Rabbi Tarfon. Rabbi Tarfon turns to the other ones, and he forewarns them. He says, look, you're meant to know. We're going to visit Rabbi Shmuel, right? Shechacham Gadol. He's a great man. Ubaki Ba'Gadis. He's an expert in Agadis. So be careful how you speak. When we speak, we should not engage in conversation. We should not interact, because that's going to generate a discussion which might prompt Rabbi Shmuel the Aval to join our discussion, which he's not allowed to do. You can't learn during Avelis. Let's be careful to keep our remarks short and to the point. Okay, Amr Bekiva, Vani Achron. I wish to be last on the list. So he came into Menachem Aval, and the Aval began speaking, as he's meant to do. Pasar Rabbi Shmuel v'Amr, in reference to himself, Rab v'Nosav. His Averis are numerous, meaning himself. Takfu Avelav. He had many tragedies, one after the other. Hitriach Rabboisav Parishon Oshnia. He troubled his Rabboisav to come visit once and again. I feel bad. Okay, so he started speaking, so they came to be Menachem. Nen Rab Tarfon v'Amar Rab Tarfon starts with the pasuk V'achechem kol beis Yisrael Yivkos Asreifa. This is by Nadav Avi who passed away, and the pasuk says, Moshe Rabbeinu says, look, all your brothers, Klal Yisrael, will participate, will cry on account of this tragedy. So it was everyone's tragedy. We can apply a kavachimer from there to our case. Uma Nadav Avihu. Shaloi also al mitzvah achas. We find by Nadav Avihu, the Torah only attributes one mitzvah, one public mitzvah to them. Tichsiv vayakru b'nei Aaron es Adam elav. So on that day, Chanukah Samishkan, they were involved in merely one activity which benefited the public. Kach, they deserved this type of treatment. Everybody was part of the tragedy or part of the hesped, crying along, even for doing just one thing to benefit the tzibur. They already got that full public recognition. Bonav shall be Shmuel achas kam v'kama. Certainly Shmuel's children who were known to be Mamritzei Torah. Certainly they deserve the whole tzibur to be involved in their bechiyah and their hesped. Nen Rabbi Yisrael v'Amar. So Rabbi Yisrael started like this: V'saftu l'kol Yisrael v'kavru oisei. So everybody was involved in the hesped. They buried him. We can apply a kal from there to our case. Uma Avia ben Yeravam. Since Avia, the son of Yeravam was a big Rasha, but his son, he only did one thing. At least in the Psukim we find only one thing that he did for the sake of Klal Yisrael. He had one good thing. Kach. What did he get as a result? Everybody was involved in his hesped. It was a communal mourning. Certainly you or your children who were involved for the longest time in our Batzas Torah and benefiting Klal Yisrael, of course. We all take part in your tragedy. We're all with you. My Dovra Tova, what was that single thing that he did? Aviv ben Yeravam. We have machlekes in Rab Zera, Rabbi Chinan Bar Papa. Chadam, I want to explain, Shebito Mishmarte, Vol Regel. We know that Yeravam was always very concerned that Klal Yisrael shouldn't go to be Oil Regel. Perhaps they'll see Ruchava Melech Yehuda sitting in the Azara, which was something exclusive for Malchei Yehuda. They'll be drawn after him. He'll lose his position. No more Oil Regel. He set up guards along the roads to block Alila Regel. His own son negated his orders. Shebitel Mishmartoi. He left his post. V'Alila Regel himself was Alila Regel. So that was a great thing, a statement against his father, for the sake of Klal Yisrael. V'chadamar, the other one explained, more than that, Shebitel Pardesois, Shahishiv Yeravam Aviv al Adrachim Shelo Yalu Yisrael Regel. He took away all those posts, canceled he fired all the guards, which were placed in position by his father Yeravam. So now all were free to go to Yerushalayim Leila Regel. Then he started as follows: B'Shalom Thomas. This was Tzidkiyahu Melech. B'Shalom Thomas will die peacefully. U'b'misrafeis avesecha melachim rishonim asher lefanecha ken yisrafu l'cha. So Tzidkiyahu, you'll have a peaceful death. V'aladvarim kavachem. U'ma Tzidkiyahu Melech Yehuda. We find that Tzidkiyahu shloi osel mitzvah achas. He did merely one mitzvah, which benefited the tzibur. Of course, he was a tzaddik, but at least in the pasuk, Tosha says we only find one description, one mitzvah. Others learn it was speaking specifically about mitzvahs that pertain to that tzibur. Others learn it was speaking about mitzvahs which were close to his misa. In any case, on account of this one good deed, which was Shehela Yirmiyah min Atit, he extracted Yirmiyah Navi, who was thrown into the clay, into the tit, when he foresaw the churban that was coming, he took him out, and that enabled Yirmiyah to go around and spread his word and warn Klal Yisrael to do teshuvah. So on account of that good deed, Kach, he merited that Klal Yisrael were involved in his hesped. Banav shel Rabbi Shmuel, certainly the children of Rabbi Shmuel, Chaskam Makama, they'll be zeicha to that. Nena Rabbi Kiva Amar. Finally, Rabbi Kiva says like this: Bayemehu, on that very day, Lasad Lave, when they'll shech the Yetzer Hara, Yigdal HaMisped B'Yishalayim, there'll be such a great hesped in Yerushalayim, compared to what? Kemisped Hadad Rimon, which took place by Bikas Megiddo. Now we don't know what Hadad Rimon is, Bikas Megiddo, what is that? Amar Rav Yosef, Ilmali Targumi Dakraf. Now for the Targum, the translation of this pasuk, which explains it for us, we wouldn't know what's going on. Levi Yadana, Mike Amar, we wouldn't know what this means. But the Targum explains like this: B'idnahu. In that time, L'asad Lavi, referring to when Hashem will do away with the Yetzer Hara, it'll be such a great hesped. The Gemara in Sukkah says the tzaddikim will cry. Look, wow, this is what we have to go through. The Rishon will cry for a lost opportunity. In any case, Yaski Mispah de Yerushalayim, the hesped in Yerushalayim will be so great, and compared to what? To another great event, another great hesped in history. Kimasped the Achi Bar Imri, a hesped applied to Achav when he was killed. The Katel Yosei, who was killed by who? Hadadrimoin Batavrimon. That's one example. Another example is Ukamisped Yeshio Bar Amin, the hesped, on account of Yeshio Bar Amin's death. Who was he killed by? The Katel Yosei Pari Chagira, Pari Nachei, the limping Pari, Bibikas Megiddo, the valley of Megiddo. So Hadadrimoin is referring to the one who killed Achav. Megiddo is the Bikas Megiddo, the site of the other hesped. So we see that Achav, the Rasha, experienced great honor upon his passing. We can apply Kal V'chomer. Ma Achav Mal Yisrael. We find that even by Achav, the great Rasha, due to one good thing that he did to benefit Klal Yisrael. What was that good thing? You see, he was shot by the Goyim there, and he still withstood. He stood stiff in order to appear strong, so that Klal Yisrael, the army surrounding him, should still maintain their fighting spirit. Opposite Aram. So he did that tremendous Mesiras Nefesh for Klal Yisrael's sake, Kach, and he was zeicha to such a tremendous honor upon his death. Certainly in our case, Bunav shall be Shmuel Chaskam Makama. Certainly they were involved extensively in Tzarchei Tzibur. We share your pain. We are part of this Averos. Amli Rava L'Rabba Bamar. Ksiv be'Tzidkiyo b'Shalom Tamas. The pasuk says by Tzidkiyo he'll die in peace. He'll have a happy ending, despite his sorrows. But at the end of the day, he'll be Uksiv. But the pasuk says Ves Eini Tzidkiyo Iver. Nebuchadnezzar blinded him. How is that considered b'Shalom Tamas? Amli, he responded, but there was one element, one positive element that happened to him. Amli Hachim Rabbi Yehuda Kessler Nebuchadnezzar b'Yamav. Nebuchadnezzar passed away during his lifetime. He was released from prison, went back home, and he died peacefully. V'amar Rava, l'Rabba Bamar, Ksiv be'Yeshio. It says like this: L'chein hineni esifcha l'vesecha, v'nasaftal k'vesecha b'shalom. It would appear that Yeshio will die a peaceful death. Uksiv, but what does the pasuk say? He died a very violent death. V'ayoru hayoru melech Yeshio. So they shot their arrows at him. V'amar Rav Yehuda Marav. They made him like full of holes, like a sieve. A very, very violent death. Why does the pasuk indicate otherwise? Amli, he responded, but there was one positive element, one major element. Amli hachi am Rabbi Yechanan shalei chara beis hamikdash b'yamav. He did not experience the churban beis hamikdash. So that positive element he had, that's what the other pasuk was referring to. B'shalom. Am Rabbi Yechanan. The consolers, the comforters, can't open the conversation until the aval starts. Perhaps he's not up to it. He has to start. When Eiv suffered tragedy, he opened the conversation. And then it says, they comforted him. How do we know that the aval sits at the head of the table during the shiva? Farshim say perhaps to give him a good feeling, to lift his mood. It's an oifen of being menachemim. Shenemar evchar darkem ve'eshev roish ve'eshken kemelech b'gdud kasher avelim yenachim. So we compare the Avel to the Melech, just as the Melech sits at the head, the Avel as well. Well, it says Yenachim. Yenachim achrini mashma. It sounds like he's comforting others, not being comforted by others. Amar Nachman Yitzchak, Yinochem ksiv. In the spelling, you can read it Yinochem. So the drush is that he is at the receiving end, he's the recipient, he's the Avel, and he's placed at the end of the table. We have another pasuk for the same thing. V'sor marzach zruch. Marzach is referring to an avel. Mar, it's bitter. Zach, he doesn't have his full faculties. He's removed. Mar zach. Nas sar l'sruchim. He became like a leader to the ones that come after him. Rashi says lashon rabim, the ones that follow him, the avelim, the menachim. So he's the head. He's the leader. He sits at the head of the table. So we go from the Avel to the Chassan. How do we go to the Chassan as well? Sits up front, head of the table during the Sheva Brachas. Shenemar, Kechassan Yichar Peher. So we compare the Chassan to a Kohen. Ma Kohen B'roish. Just as the Kohen sits on top, Av Chassan B'roish, the Chassan as well. The Kohen Guf Minol, how do we know it applies to a Kohen? The Tan, very small. The Kidashta. You sanctify the Kohen. How do you do that? He's already sanctified. The drush is, we give him preference and priority. L'chol dover shebekdusha. L'ftoyach rishon. He gets the first aliyah on the Sefer Torah. L'varach rishon gets the first opportunity. He's given the honor of doing berachas hazimun. V'litel manayaf rishon. This is a chiddush. Even when it comes to mundane matters, he has the first pick. He gets the first slice of pizza. He gets the best portion. That's how you mekayim b'kedashtu. So just as the kohen sits up front, gets first pick, the Chassan as well. Okay, let's do a quick chazar of today's daf. We learned about various aspects of Misa. The highest form of Misa, the most elevated form, is Neshika, which applies to Tzaddikim. And, as the Gemara later tells us, once a person is past 80, and there's a sudden death, that also is a manifestation of Misas Neshika. We learned about Misas Tzadikim Mechaperes, from the fact that the Torah places Misas Miriam near Paraduma, from the fact that the Torah places Misas Aaron near B'dei Kahuna. We learned about the ages of Kores and Misas B'dei Shemayim, 60, 70, 80. 60 is norm, 70 is already older, 80 is Gevuros. Kores from 50 to 60, 52 is okay, that's Misas Shmuel. We learned about Bani Chayim Zayni. That's not totally in Schus, rather in Mazel, which can be changed through Schus, through Schus Gadol, through Tefillah. We saw the power of the Tzaddikim and how they dealt with the Yetzer Hara. We saw the various versions of the chanting during the Hesped by the Nashi, the Shachnatziv. We learned about V'chayit in Aliboy, how a person is meant to take the whole Avelis process to heart, to make it personal. We learned about the sons of Rabbi Shmuel who Mazakas Arabim. We learned that an Avel needs to start the conversation, and he's placed at the head of the table. Likewise, the Kohen and the Chassan. And we learned about V'kedashtai, to the Kohen, which applies to various halachis, inyani mitzvah, and even mundane matters. Litil mana yafarishan. All the best to you and much atzluch.